When you need to do more with less, Upwork helps you hire fast without the overhead. Find expert freelancers in design, marketing, IT, AI, and more. Never tried Upwork? Now's the perfect time. Spend your first $1,000 and get $200 in credit for your next project. No upfront cost, no long-term commitments, just $200 to reinvest in what matters. Go to upwork.com/save to get started. That's upwork.com/SAVE. Upwork.com/save.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Oh, shit.
Okay. Here we are. We're good. I mean, you can keep talking. All we're doing is talking about the downfall of the Cubs.
So, Cubs fan, right? I'm talking all this shit about PCA. What up, Connor? How you doing, man? Welcome in. And I'm just talking trash, and he's like, PCA is the best center fielder in the league, and it's not even close. I'm like, first of all, that's an egregious statement to say it's not even close. There are other great defensive center fielders.
As soon as somebody says it's not even close in a discussion, I already know that whatever they're going to say.
Yeah, it's not valid. I said, Garrett Mitchell, as unlucky as he's been with his injury history, it's a little sad. He's been very unlucky. He's a great defensive center fielder. Blake Perkins just last year proved that he's a great defensive center fielder, robbing, 5 home runs?
He was a Gold Glove center field candidate last year. Taylor, welcome back. Connor said when Yelich hits, this team is good. That's absolutely true. We're going to be talking a lot about Yelich today, too.
That doesn't even consider the fact that Contreras has been hurt with the thumb, and he's not hitting. Imagine if he's going to just be healing up as time goes on. Yep. I mean, we got a lot to discuss. Let's just get into it. Let's get into it. I don't want to foreshadow too much. Can't hear you today.
Welcome to another episode of the Wisco Fanatic Show, where we cover the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, and Badgers basketball and football teams from an optimistic and realistic perspective.
Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
Okay, so we have one Cubs game. We should have two Cubs games, but, it's such an annoying situation to even discuss why we don't have two Cubs games to talk about today, because they didn't want to face Jacob Mizorowski and Freddie Peralta on the same day. And I hope when we had that doubleheader in August, I hope that the Brewers line it up that they have to face Freddie Peralta and Jacob Mizorowski.
I would do Freddie day game, Mizorowski night game. Bring the heat all day. Actually, thinking out loud, might be better to have Mizorowski go first. Come at you guns blazing, and then you can have a more established pitcher, pitch the nightcap in a game that might be a must-win in that scenario. We're going to be fighting for the division for the next couple months now, so it's going to be
like 5 games at Wrigley in 4 days in August, which is just annoying. But
might get rained out then too. You never know.
Yeah, watch that happen too. Connor, we're going to talk about that too. So let's start with Cubs game 3. This was from last Thursday. Let's talk about the game, and then we got to talk about some really bad way that this game ended, thankfully in a win. But for me, it was awesome to see Jackson Churchill showing off the speed early. He had a blooper, went straight to second for his 20th double of the season. Bottom of the first inning, Rhys Hoskins made a nice play on a hot grounder, threw to first while sitting down. That was awesome. Freddie Peralta got ahead of Pete Crow Armstrong 1-2 and threw a 4-seam fastball slightly above the zone. Pete Crow Armstrong just beat him on that particular pitch. After that, Freddie Peralta retired 9 in a row until a 2-0 solo home run in the bottom of the 4th. He was behind 3-1 on that count. He followed that up by a 4-pitch walk. Just in general, Freddie's command got a little iffy in the 4th and the 5th inning last Thursday. He did get pulled at 86 pitches, which was partly to get Aaron Ashby some work. Also, we didn't we don't need Freddie Peralta to throw 100 to 110 pitches every single time he goes out there.
Agreed.
So I've people complaining about Freddie being pulled early in a lot of these games lately. I mean, do you want him burned out in September, or do you want to be able to have him some games where he can stay fresh? And they won, so even the hindsight game still works. Steve, I'm really excited. We're going to have 2 Jacob Mizorowski games to talk about today. James, welcome back. Rhys Hoskins tied the game right away after that solo home run. Don't elevate breaking pitches to Rhys Hoskins. It's not going to go well for you. Like Connor said, Rhys's defense has been better this year. Perks of him feeling healthier. That is a very, very fair point, Connor.
Yes.
So looking at Rhys Hoskins, and I was excited. I had to sit on this for 6 days to be able to tell this. Looking at Rhys Hoskins' batting zones. So he had an elevated fastball thrown to him in the zone that was 96 miles an hour. He has 50 barreled balls in just that upper quadrant of the zone. Just the upper outer third. He has 50 barrel ball there, tied for his highest out of any zone. And he is batting 400, 455 on base with a 1,300 slug and a 1,755 OPS. Holy fuck. In just that upper outer third of the zone. Dude, don't pitch there in general, and definitely don't hang a breaking ball that Rhys Hoskins can just annihilate. His average exit velocity in that part of the strike zone is 96 miles an hour. His average. So, Rhys Hoskins, upper outer third, probably not a safe place to throw. After that, Isaac Collins was down 0-2 in an at-bat, worked back a walk, and Caleb Durbin followed with a home run after he was down 1-2. And the Brewers as a team just kind of teeing off. Through the third inning, the Brewers' average exit velocity was 97.6. Later on, Isaac Collins stayed hot, had a 3-run home run on a hanging breaking ball. And really just want to credit the defense, the Brewers' defense. Bottom of the 6th inning, Joey Ortiz had a web gem. He's been playing some amazing defense lately. And I'm going to leave it at that, and we will come back to the end of this game to talk about what happened in the 8th and the 9th inning.
Yeah. So that's good, because that's exactly what I did in my notes too, so we can have a good discussion about it. So things that I looked at the Brewers had an early lead. They got up 1-0. Cubs get 2 from a homer in the bottom of the inning. And then it was really good response from the Brewers offense to pick up their starter and score immediately right away in the 2nd inning. Obviously, you talked about that Hoskins home run that he hit. That was a hanging sweeper. And then Durbin also hit after Collins walked, which was right after Hoskins' homer. Collins ended up walking and scoring on the Durbin homer. So really nice from the Brewers offense to pick up their starter. Love that from them. In the 3rd inning, Trejo smacked a fastball to right. Yelly jumps on the first pitch, which was a curveball. And then Contreras jumps on the first pitch, which was a sinker. And the Brewers are up 5-2. So Brewers being aggressive at the plate, jumping first pitches. Not only being aggressive on the bases, but at home plate, with the bat, swinging a little bit earlier. They've really done a nice job, and this is something that I don't think enough people have pointed out. But you're going to hear it here from Wisco Fanatics, because that's what we do. We like to point out the small things. The Brewers do a really nice job of adjusting their offense, kind of by a matchup basis, where some starters, they'll take some pitches and they'll just look to make some contact. Like today, how they got after schemes, which we're going to talk about later, is they were just trying to make contact, any kind of contact, make them pitch from the stretch, put a lot of pressure on them. And then you have days where, they will take more pitches, and that's how they'll get your pitch count up. So they've done a really tremendous job this year. In the 5th inning, the Brewers did a lot of damage. Contreras had a 4-pitch walk. Terang had a double down the line. A very good at bat. He took the first 5 pitches of that at bat. Obviously, you're going to take the first couple pitches of the at bat after Contreras gets a 4-pitch walk. But then for him to slap one down the line after taking the first 5 pitches, one of the first couple pitches that he took was a curveball. He saw another one, and he did not miss it. The 2 strikes and the 3-2 were back-to-back cutters. and then Hoskins pop up and Collins in a 1-1 count, hanging curve, smacked that thing to dead center. Did not miss it. Isaac Collins got on a heater for a few games in a row here. He was kind of leading the charge with the bottom of the order, which we're going to talk about a bunch.
Yep, whole bunch
in series with the Twins. But Collins was leading the charge with the bottom of the order as he was just going crazy. 8-3 Brewers. Through 5 innings, the Brewers had 26 at bats. That's pretty good. We talk all the time about stacking traffic, so I'm trying to find ways to talk about stacking traffic.
Yep.
Getting more at bats is a good thing. They had 10 hits, they had 8 runs and 2 walks. So you're talking about these guys just getting on base any means necessary, hitting the ball. You know, they can hit the ball 4 feet in front of home plate, and they're going to find a way to get on first base, which is amazing. That's what this team is built for. You did a really nice job a few years ago, in my opinion, mapping out what the Brewers were drafting for. They're drafting for contact and speed and defense, and you're seeing the fruits of those labors getting put into play quite literally for the 2025 Brewers.
Nice.
You're welcome. I worked very hard on that part of my notes. So now we got to talk about a late game situation. And the first thing I'm going to say about this before I give you the floor is Murphy was giving the umps the fucking business, dude. I'm going to cuss a few times. I apologize if you don't like cussing. Murphy was cussing. So if you don't like cussing, you didn't like the end of this game as well. But Murphy was giving them the fucking business, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. So, all right, I'm gonna let you go. I'm just going to say I counted 4 pitches that should have been strikes. And that is just me being generous to the umpire, in my opinion.
I would say at least 4, and I'm going to just roll through the whole 8th and 9th inning because it's just garbage. Yep. Connor, correct on shout out to Jackson for his multi-walk game. Maybe that fucking random dude from ESPN radio won't want to trade him anymore. And Steve, yes, the bottom of the order is absolutely going to be a theme of today's episode.
Yep.
Now, the strike zone at the end of this game last Thursday, just call it like it is, absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Absolute garbage. I'm going to go through it because I went back and rewatched the game to look and see if the couple of Cubs fans that I had in the Brewers mentions were accurate in saying that it was, make up from the beginning of the game. And it wasn't. Freddie got one lucky strikeout, I'll say, and it was in the bottom of the 3rd inning in a 3-run game with the bases empty and 1 out.
Okay.
Now at the bottom of the 9th inning of a 1-run game, hence what the umpire scorecard deemed as 0.85 runs of favor for the Chicago Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, umpiring led to almost an entire run of favor for the Cubs at 0.96 and 0.11 for the Brewers. So 96 minus 11 gives you 85. So 0.85 runs of favor for the Cubs because of where these pitches were. Now, literally the next half inning after Freddie Peralta got that one lucky strikeout, the top of the 4th inning, Durbin got rung up on a similar pitch. So we're even already in the 4th inning. So I don't want to hear this bullshit that 8th and 9th inning that it was evened up from the beginning of the game because the Brewers were not getting that much favor like the Cubs did in the 8th and the 9th. Yeah. And the thing that bothered me about it is that the bottom of the 8th, Abner Uribe was pitching, and he gets probably 2 pitches that should have been strikes. Dansby Swanson should have struck out. And I saw a couple people saying Abner Uribe, his command was erratic. And I disagree. He wasn't really erratic, and there should have been a strikeout in there. And to that point, Trevor McGill in the bottom of the 9th, he wasn't erratic at all, and he arguably had more egregious pitches missed. And then on top of it, in the top of the 9th inning, Christian Yelich gets rung up on 2 pitches in the exact same places that McGill and Uribe are throwing balls, not getting called strikes. That's what pissed me off about it. You ring up Yelich, and you give Uribe and McGill a tighter strike zone. That, to me, is where this becomes garbage.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we get to, what this actually ended up meaning, because the Brewers did win, thankfully, there was one pitch that Durbin had called against him. That was an inside pitch that should have been called a ball, called a strike, and he ended up hitting a home run out of it. So he got his get back a little bit there. But that same pitch, like I said, McGill and Uribe did not get. Now, I will say this as well. During the game, the Cubs were given plenty of edge pitches called strikes. McGill had 2 really bad missed ones versus his first batter. And then during the Suzuki at-bat, just an insane miss. Like, it's like a whole baseball inside the strike zone. Like that, I mean, even during the broadcast, you can hear them saying, like, that can't happen. And the more that this kind of thing does happen, the more outcry you're going to have for people wanting an automatic ball strike system.
Yeah.
Now, what I will say, I normally don't like saying this, but in this situation it applies. Ball don't lie. Because Suzuki grounded into a double play, and I said this after the game. It felt to me like the umpire was trying to get Pico Armstrong to the plate.
Dude, I feel that too. Also want to say that Suzuki is freaking terrible against the Brewers, so if he can continue to do that, I mean, we have no problem mentioning players when they're good against our teams, the Brewers, Bucks, Packers, Badgers. I have absolutely no problem giving credit where credit is due, but I'm also going to shit on some people when they deserve it as well, and Suzuki is fucking terrible against the Brewers, dude, and Peralta.
It's hilarious that you brought up giving credit to your opponents, because I wrote in my notes that I will give the credit to the Cubs for one thing. It's for letting the guy back into the game after he climbed the net to get Salford.
Yeah, right. That was actually pretty funny.
Hey, I'm glad you guys let that guy back in. I give him credit for that.
Yeah, we need to come on. Let's have some fun. It's okay to have some fun. I agree with that. And that's kind of where baseball's a little bit different too, where you can kind of have stuff like that happen. You can't have stuff like that happen at a football game, an NFL game, or even college at this point with how big it is. So I agree that was fun.
Okay.
You pretty much took the words out of my mouth for the 8th and 9th inning. I was going to say something similar to Ball Don't Lie.
Dude, that took a half a page of notes in my notebook.
Yeah, but I'm just going to say the team that deserved to win ended up winning. They didn't need help from the umpires. And also, I knew the Brewers were going to win this game because it was my daughter's birthday that day, so they were not losing.
All right.
It was also the 4-year anniversary of Bucks versus Nets, if you ever wanted to know the date for that. So
that's electric. That still might be one of the best playoff series probably since 2000.
Oh, Mama's the Mia for sure.
Dude, and we talked about it the other day, and it's like I remember calling into work after Game 7, like, awesome.
Yeah.
All right. My dad said awesome days for the Brewers and for Mizarowski today. Dude, awesome. So good. And we're going to get to that one, but let's talk about a sweep. Except let's do Pirates after that. Let's talk about a sweep.
Yeah. So nothing new here. Just a Wisconsin pro sports team beating the shit out of a Minnesota's pro sports team. So we all love that. And the first one's even better because it's 17-6. And they had to score a majority of their runs off our position player. So that's crazy.
You can very easily think of this game as 12-2, and I would be okay with that.
Yeah, you very well could. So the Brewers, 17 runs, 19 hits, 23 total bases, and 5 players left on base. That is a series worth of stats for some teams. I mean, just look at the San Francisco Giants, who everybody thinks is going to be world beaters now they got Devers. Go look what they did this weekend versus the Cleveland Guardians. Not great. They didn't touch those numbers. Not even close in a 3-game series. The Brewers did that in one game.
17 divided by 3 is 5 2/3 runs a game, so I'll take that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, reading that correctly, the Giants scored like 5 runs total in 3 games. So,
cool.
Just saying, the Brewers are on fire right now. Mizarowski was absolutely unbelievable. The poor Twins had to suffer for what the Cubs were too scared to do, and that's have Mizarowski go 6 innings pitched, 1 hit, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 6 Ks. But we got to talk about this, right? So after this game, he became the first pitcher in baseball history to have more wins than hits given up, which is absolutely insanity. When you think back about that, you're just like, what? Like that doesn't make sense to me. That's unbelievable. Nick Mears was fantastic as well. I know you're gonna have a bunch of stats, so I'm gonna let you have your heyday on the stats, my boy. DL Hall also looked good in this one. He's been a little bit up and down this year. Obviously, we're going to talk about another outing he had later this week. As in after this game. And Bauer's pitching this one too. Again, he gave up a couple earned runs, had a couple walks, but he's throwing like 58 miles an hour, 62 miles an hour. He's not out there because he's trying to be productive. He's out there because he's trying to get us to the next gosh darn day. So the thing that really stuck out to me, now obviously Christian Yelich having 8 RBIs, up to 52 in the year at this point. That was his career high. Also tied the Brewers team record for most RBIs in a game with Rowdy Tellez. Contreras, Frelick had 3 RBIs. Churio and Ortiz had 3 RBIs. So Yelly had the longest distance hit of the game at 429 feet, but it was not a home run. 429-foot double is got to be the longest double in baseball history.
That's a home run in 27 out of 30 ballparks.
Yes. So I also wrote down Yelly's exit velocity. So his first at bat, 70.9, below average. 65.1, below average. He's over 2 at that point. He said, bet. His next at bat, 108 off the bat.
That'll do.
That's a single. His next at bat, he had a double, 105.4. His next at bat after that, the double that went 429 feet, 107.5 miles per hour off the bat. And then his final at bat, 105.4. So he went 4 for 4 in those ones, and he hit the ball really, really hard and really, really far. And the last thing that stuck out to me was the top 3 in the order combining with the bottom 2 in the order. And you're talking the top 3 being Frelick, Churio, and Yelly. They absolutely dominated. Durbin and Ortiz as the bottom 2 in the order. If you combine just those 5 hitters together, they were 14 for 23. That is a 608 batting average, by the way. That sounds incorrect saying that out loud. 13 runs, 16 RBIs, 4 walks, and only 5 strikeouts. I will take that every single day and 14,000 times on Sunday. Yep. Don't worry. I was trying to leave some breadcrumbs for Tyler. My buddy. I didn't want to take all of them, but the runners in scoring position again. I talked about it a few weeks ago when I was on. I had to miss last week because my daughter's birthday. They had another game where, and this was against the Phillies, I believe, where they had 10 plus for 10 plus in the runners in scoring position. Again, in this day, 11 for 16. That is filthy stuff. The Brewers offense is humming, and the starting pitching with Mizorowski coming up, kind of becoming more established, honestly. We're kind of molding into the team that everybody kind of thought they were going to be coming into this year, and everything's coming together at the right time. But, the season's over in June, Tyler. That's what people tell me on
So I'm going to address a couple things. One, my dad asked how deep was the hill in Houston before they nixed it. It was 436 feet. I knew that. I didn't look it up on Google. I totally just knew that. Steve said Yelich, his 8 RBI game was the first time a player didn't score a run with 8 RBI. Yes, that is a Major League Baseball record. The most runs batted in without scoring a run. That is the most in MLB history. And Connor said, no hate to Bryce, but I think Sal should be our leadoff guy. I do like Bryce batting 5th. I agree with both of those things. I think Sal Frelick has all of the tools you would want in a leadoff hitter. Just a guy that will grind out at bats, almost never going to strike out, and will beat out a lot of balls that would be outs for other players. As for Bryce Terang, he essentially in the 5 hole occupies the role that Sal Frelick used to, and I'll say the same thing with Bryce Terang that I used to say with Sal Frelick when he was batting 5th. He's essentially your second leadoff hitter.
I would like to add in on the thing about Sal that is great about him being a leadoff. Obviously, we know him as an emotional guy. He with being an emotional guy, he could be a tone setter. So having the tone setter at the top of the order makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I like that too. Okay, so it is hilarious to see us posting the strikeout that Jacob Mizorowski had in the first inning of this game.
Yeah.
Will Castro was turned into a human pretzel by a 96-mile-an-hour slider by Jacob Mizorowski. Yep. And it's hilarious during a Brewers-Twins game seeing the number of Cubs fans that were commenting on our post about it. that's nothing special. The hitter just sucks. He made a bad decision. He made a bad swing. It's like, yeah, a 96-mile-an-hour slider will do that. And then the number of people being like, it's not a slider, it's a cutter. It's like, okay, he holds it like a slider. He calls it a slider. StatCast calls it a slider. I'm going to call it a slider.
Yeah, I'm just going to side with the baseball people.
And it's not. And the thing about it is I saw a couple people too. It's just a fastball. It's like, no, it's not. And like, I kept referring people to Pitching Ninja, who had the overlay of his 101-mile-an-hour fastball and 96-mile-an-hour slider. The slider moves on average about 11 inches more than his fastball does.
Damn.
So it's not the same pitch. It's not a fastball. It's not I wouldn't call it a cut fastball because it moves more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and people being like, it's not the most diabolical thing on a baseball field you've ever seen. You've never seen anything that nasty. It's like, live? Probably not. Like, yeah, I can watch a fucking highlight video all day about the nastiest pitches ever in baseball, and there'll probably be 3 or 4 of them, just like the one that Mizorowski threw in this game, and Tariq Skubal is going to have some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Tariq Skubal is an absolute monster.
Yeah, he is.
But I'm not watching many Tigers games this year unless they're playing against the Brewers. So I'm not going to see those things as they're happening.
Yep.
I'll see them on highlight reels.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's the most diabolical thing that I've seen because, like we said, Jacob Mizorowski turned Willie Castro, an all-star last year, into a sitting on the ground crisscross applesauce, crumpled aluminum can on the ground after swinging at that pitch.
I was thinking, please use the crisscross applesauce. I was so proud of that saying that too on Friday. I was like, please say it.
Steve said the pitch on its own was filthy. Just the movement, the end result being the human pretzel makes it clear how filthy it was. And I said this to a couple of people, again, in our comment section on the video that we posted. And people doing it's not that impressive, the hitter just sucks, whatever. It's like, I said this to a couple of people. I'm like, listen, there's no shame in admitting that this was a really good pitch. It was a really cool thing for him to do it. You will find that you will earn respect from people much easier if you offer it first. If you are going to be a Cubs or a Twins fan and come into our comment section and be like, this isn't anything special, after we clearly know that it is, just be aware that we're never going to respect anything you say again if our first impression of you is you being a douche and being disrespectful, when you can just be like, hey, I'm a Cubs fan. That was nasty. Thank you, Cubs fan. I would shake your hand.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason I'm so against PCA. It's because every time that Cubs fans talk about PCA, they have to, and this is just such classic Chicago behavior, they have to mention, you guys, which Churio was as good as PCA? Why can't you just enjoy your guy? Why do we have to have this culture where everybody has to get knocked down to lift your guy up? PCA's having a good year. Is he the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life? No, because I got to see Barry fucking Bonds. Like, that was the greatest hitter I've ever seen in my entire life.
And Churio's still pretty awesome.
Churio's awesome, dude. He plays 3 outfield spots. He's 21 years old. He's the youngest player ever to have a 2020 season. I mean, he's legit. I'm very happy with it.
And if we're doing this, like, yes, PCA has more home runs by like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
He's batting like 8 points higher than Churio. Like the gap is this big, not this big. Like,
yeah.
And I get the defense is a part of it, but again, like you just brought up, he's played 3 different defensive positions this year.
Yeah,
obviously all in the outfield, but still,
it still matters.
Yeah,
you know.
So Steve or Connor said with Mizorowski and Skeens and Burns in the NL. Well, Burns, the new Cincinnati pitcher. I was like, Burns, what? Yeah, the NL Central hitters better watch out. There's some nasty pitchers in here. Steve said, crazy how Chicago fans can be kings of the offseason when they post slow motion videos of Fields or Caleb throwing against nothing, but now they downplay Mizorowski. And that's the thing. Again, you'll find it much easier to gain respect if you offer it first.
Yep.
So, looking at pitches thrown, again, we've talked about this as well, as the Brewers driving up the starting pitcher's pitch count, especially early in a series. 58 pitches by the Twins starter through 3 innings. Mizorowski, 34. Mizorowski threw 6 perfect innings at 80 pitches. The bottom of the 7th inning, he came out for after a long top of the 7th inning. Gave up a 4-pitch walk, which ended his perfect outing, and then no hits still after that. But then the second batter had a moonshot home run, which was the first hit that Mizorowski allowed after 11 innings, no hit. Now, I had a conversation on Twitter with somebody about this, and the conversation was, why did Pat Murphy even send Mizorowski out for the 7th? And I like that he did it. I like that Pat Murphy sent Mizorowski out for the 7th. It, to me, was a player's coach type move, giving Mizorowski the chance to continue what was a historic run of innings, letting the young guys play. His pitch count was in good shape. He was at 80 pitches. That's kind of right around where they want him. But Murphy gave him a chance to go out there and extend his record a little bit. Mm-hmm. I like that he gave him that chance. And I know they mentioned this on the broadcast as well. He's going to give up a run at some point.
Yeah.
Why not let it happen in what I think at that point was like a 9-0 game or a 7-0 game, I think, at that point. Like, I think it was 9-0, and that made it a 7-run game, something like that. But again, the Brewers were blowing the Twins out at this point.
Yeah.
Like, the outlier crazy chance that he gets injured risk aside, there is no risk in letting him go out there for that 7th inning to try to extend what has been a insane start to his career.
Agreed.
Now, Brewers did not have any runs in the first 3 innings, but were putting good at-bats together, as I mentioned, with driving up that pitch count. The third was just really good job. Getting to a bullpen early in a game is good. Getting to a bullpen early in a series is better. Because, again, you're just talking, you get to game 3, and you're like, oh, we've had to use our bullpen guys, so much through the first 2 games of the series. Point being, the first relief pitcher came in, and the first pitch that he threw, Christian Yelich ripped an RBI single. Chourio, after 2 walks, extended his hitting streak to 11. And Sal, great hustle to score from first, and good base running by Chourio to follow him all the way on third before the throw home. And my dad said sitting on all week on no hits would have been a lot too. And that's the thing. Like, all that does is just put more pressure on you.
Yeah.
It makes you tense for the beginning of what today's game would be. He goes out for the first inning today. He gives up a home run. Then you're talking about tanking the next 5 innings today instead of just being like, okay, you gave up 2 runs in the 7th of a 9-0 game. You were still awesome for 6 innings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd much rather have it happen at the end of his start in a 9-0 game than at the beginning of a 0-0 game when the other guy pitching is Paul Skeens.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
All right, let's talk about the bottom of the order. 7, 8, 9. In the top of the 7th, they manufactured a run. Great job to get on base for the top of the order. Sal Frelick drove a run in. Jackson Chourio had his second walk to load the bases for Christian Yelich, who cleared the bases with a double down the left field line. Top of the 8th inning, 7, 8, 9, manufactured another run. Sal got on again for Christian Yelich, and Christian Yelich again cleared the bases, which would have been a grand slam, like I said, in 27 out of 30 ballparks. The only 3 being Target Field, Chase Field in Arizona, and Coors Field, oddly enough, in Colorado. Those are the only 3 that ball would not have been a home run in. Last thing, 19 hits, 6 walks, 3 of them came by Jackson Chourio, 17 runs. And again, if you want to call this like a 12-2 game because 5 runs and 4 runs were given up by position players, it did result in Christian Yelich getting his career high in RBI, so that's still a good thing for the against the position players. So it counts, but I mean, the game was about Mizorowski and the offense being hot. 8 runs against Chicago on Thursday, 17 runs against the Twins on Friday, and then we see this thing where people are like, oh my God, save some runs for tomorrow. And then we get to Saturday's game, and again, the Brewers just seeing a ton of pitches. 30 in a 2-run first, aided by their speed just causing havoc. Christian Yelich stole a base. The throw goes into center field, and Sal Frelick scores on it. Christian Yelich scores on a sac fly after that. Mm-hmm. And then the Brewers tack on in the 8th inning again, the bottom of the order producing runs. Isaac Collins scored Terang on what was ruled a sac fly. Bader misplayed it. Ball was basically in his glove, and it just bounced off of his hand towards the line. And then Collins got the third and scored on a ground out, and Joey Ortiz got on base again. Joey Ortiz, I'm going to give you the numbers from his road trip because they're fantastic.
Yeah.
Top of the nine, more questionable defense by the Twins led to a high pop-up in the sun by Rhys Hoskins, became a double, and Isaac Collins got to the plate, and he stayed hot with a 2 RBI double. So, again, at this point, the Brewers had scored 34 runs in 3 days and 26 in 2 games against the Twins with no home runs.
You son of a bitch.
Do you know when the only time that was happened?
No, I don't.
That was the third time since 1952 that they scored 26 runs in a 2-game stretch with no homers.
That was
Since 1952. Now, I want to talk about Jose Quintana because he threw 27 pitches in the first inning. He had 2 walks, and his breaking ball's just not quite coming along yet. His fastball and changeup looked a little bit better at the beginning of this start, but he got through 4 scoreless innings, 69 pitches, only 1 hit, and the 4 walks. Nice and great work for him to finish 6 innings pitched.
Yeah,
especially after a 27-pitch first inning. He finished 90 pitches through 6 innings, which means he finished the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 5 innings in only 63 pitches. That's basically 12 pitches an inning. That's great work.
That's where you kind of expect Quintana to be around, right?
If he's starting games by throwing 12 or 13 pitches an inning, we're going to get 7-inning Jose Quintana soon.
Yeah. Honestly, having Quintana go after Mizorowski is fucking diabolical in baseball terms, bro. You have this guy, Mizorowski, who is still so young and new to professional baseball. Every start he makes, I mean, he's going to make starts, at home, obviously, but every road start he makes is going to be his first start up in that stadium. And he's just going to be gassed up. And he's already got a 100-mile-an-hour arm. So that's when he's going to be reaching back and hitting that 102, 103 pretty consistently. So just insane for that. And then you got a 96. I mean, we could talk all day about Mizorowski, the 96-mile-an-hour slider, and he's got all this stuff. And then you got Quintana, who throws an 89-mile-an-hour fastball and will just dot you up all over the strike zone, control every single pitch. He's throwing 5 pitches, and you're just like, well, what the fuck, dude, is going on? One's coming from this way, and he's huge. One's coming from this way. This guy's been a vet. He's been around. He's played for a bunch of teams. I love it, dude. I love this. I was so jacked up. I remember being at work. I was so jacked up when they signed Jose Quintana. I was like, yeah, that's such a good signing. That's a Brewer move. That felt like a Brewer move.
And it taking a Brewer killer away from the rest of the league.
Yeah, very true, because he's played for the rest of the division. So good for – he's now finished the NL Central gauntlet hand, so good for him. Anderson was good in this one, and Ashby was tremendous. Ashby's changeup, dude, might be his best pitch. And his fastball, his sinker, his sinker is freaking disgusting. He's got a good slider, but dude, this was a different game. But his changeup is fucking filthy, dude. It's filthy.
The Brewers teach changeups.
I love changeups. Obviously, we had this discussion before. But I love changeups, dude. I love changeups.
I mean, we've had conversations. It's been said on broadcasts, like, to be a successful starting pitcher, you have to have a changeup. Like, I know you've said that recently.
Yeah.
But the Brewers pitching lab, the best pitch that they've been teaching the last 4 or 5 years has been changeups.
Yeah.
Freddie Peralta throws like 14% changeups now. He never had one.
Yeah.
Now it's like his 3rd most used pitch.
And it's good. When he can land it, it's good. He dominates. That's when he goes his 7 innings strong.
Yeah.
Which he can use one of those pretty soon, by the way. That's a little off topic. But in terms of the offense, I mean, what is there to say? I mean, Yelly, Collins, and Churio all had 2 RBIs. Collins had 3 RBIs in total. He's up to 19 now out of nowhere. Frelick's up to 29. Durbin's up to 25. Terang's getting RBIs. And Yelly's up to 53. I mean, that guy just started hitting, and the offense just went whoosh. Yeah, Ashby's curveball.
I agree with Connor that Ashby's got a pretty good curveball.
His curveball's pretty nasty. One of my biggest takeaways was 26 runs with no home runs. I was just like, wow, that's incredible.
That's scary.
It is. The Brewers also got Brooks Lee to ground out 3 times. He had a 19-game hitting streak, so good on the Brewers to not let Minnesota have anything nice. I love that for us. And it's the 3rd straight win, also the 3rd straight game with at least 5 players with an RBI and at least 16 players on base. So, I mean, that's an impressive streak. Again, we talk all the time about stacking traffic, so I'm trying to find different ways to talk about it. So I thought that was impressive. And just a good old-fashioned 9-0 ass-whooping on a Saturday afternoon. So you'll love that. And
before we move to Sunday, I took the team numbers, and I looked at baseball as a whole and found where the Brewers stood. So as of – this would be after Saturday's game, the last 30 days, the Milwaukee Brewers were 4th in baseball in batting average at .266 for team average. Trailing only the Rays, the Astros, and the Blue Jays. And 3rd in on-base percentage, trailing only the Rays and the Dodgers, and tied for 3rd in runs scored. So, Brewers, I know they posted a thing today that over the last 30 days they have the best record in baseball. I just want to keep kind of emphasizing these things, how good the Brewers have been basically just in the month of June.
Yeah. Been really good. Been tremendous.
So let's go Sunday's game. So to you from Sunday.
Well, we got a lot to discuss here with the bullpen. We'll put a pin in some of that.
God, I'm so smart for something I said about it. So not me over here just tooting my own horn, pat myself on the back, whatever else you want to say, but
got to do it.
I say smart things sometimes.
Another day, another RBI for Christian Yelich. He's up to 54. Hoskins with a couple. Contreras with a 2-out RBI. Terang absolutely mashed a baseball.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys who's got he's got sneaky power, dude.
Dude, I've been saying that since his rookie year when he hit that grand slam against the Mets, like away in the beginning of his rookie career. He's got sneaky power.
He just nobody ever talks about it, but he's just a get on base kind of guy, platinum glove, and I mean, dude, he made an absolute disgusting play when we talk about game 1 of the Pirates. He made a fucking filthy play throwing a guy out at 3rd. I was sitting back like, whoa, dude.
We're gonna have a conversation about that.
There's a discussion to be had because there's regular people talking about, oh, that wasn't that crazy of a play, and I'm thinking like, okay, you get off your couch and you go do that because you ain't doing that throw. I promise you that. But really, the thing I wanted to talk about was another game with 5 people producing in the run scoring category. Another 9-run game. People just basically playing hot potato. Who wants to stand on second base and third base, and the bullpen. So I don't know how deep you want me to go into my bullpen talk. And then I have some totality.
Let's talk about the game, the rest of the game, and then we'll talk about the bullpen separately, kind of how we did with the Cubs game.
Okay, why don't you go? Because I have more like totality of the series notes and some thoughts on the bullpen. So why don't you go ahead and get
the Twins used an opener, and they got Christian Yelich down 0-2 with 2 outs, and it worked it back to 3-2. So good job by Christian Yelich. That's good at bat to do that. And then he ripped a double. William Contreras had an RBI single after he was down to 1-2. So those 2, good job to manufacture a run with 2 outs. Connor said it's good to see Buxton healthy and playing well. Glad it was only 1 game and not all 3. Strongly agree. It's better for all of the leagues when all of its players are healthy. That's why we will never cheer for injuries. We will never be happy when they happen, even if they happen to our rivals, because we want to beat our opponents when they're at their best. Mm-hmm. That's what the spirit of competition is really all about. Now, Quinn Priester, he had Byron Buxton, like Connor said, down 0-2, got back to 3-2, and he hit a game-tying solo home run. Second run scored on a third single off of kind of an awkward check swing. Considering the 5 hits that Quinn Priester gave up, one of them being a home run, it's not horrible to only allow 2 runs in that situation. Priester did get through the second and third innings clean, but a 2-strike solo home run cut the lead to 5-3. Priester was taken out after 3 1/3 and just 76 pitches. But, big but, bullpen was well rested to this point.
Yes.
Jake Bauers pitched an inning on Friday night. I mean, Jose Quintana got through 6 innings after Mizorowski pitched 6 innings and got into the 7th. I mean, only Ashby, Grant Anderson on Saturday, and Nick Mears and DL Hall each pitched on Friday. That's where we're at. The bullpen was well rested. Rob Z came in for the final 2 outs. And then going into the rest of the bullpen, I'm going to put a pin in it.
Mm-hmm.
First batter of the second inning, Rhys Hoskins tied the game by sneaking a home run to the left field corner. So right back 2-2, we're good.
Yep.
Top of the third, Sal Frelick had an infield single. Was originally ruled an error, which is just crazy because Sal Frelick was beating that out even if it's fielded cleanly. Did end up getting changed back to a hit. Jackson Churriel bunted for a single. Christian Yelich had a chopper infield single. And good hustle by Jackson Churriel to get to third base on that. And just, 4 for 4 for the Brewers to start. Actually, I think it was 5 for 5 in the first 5 innings of this game. They scored every inning. And doing it with speed. Yeah. Top of the 4th inning, another infield single by Caleb Durbin. Got to third base on a Joey Ortiz single, and then scored on a wild pitch. He would have scored on Sal Frelick's sac fly, but he was kind of caught in a no man's land, kind of back and forth type thing. That stuff happens. He ended up scoring anyways. Baseball gods threw us a bone by throwing a wild pitch, and he scored anyways. Also, Caleb Durbin's a rookie. Don't forget that either.
Yeah.
Top of the 5th inning, Bryce Durang made it 5 for 5 on scoring innings when he destroyed a 412-foot home run. Again, bottom of the order, getting it done and getting guys in. Now, we can talk about the bullpen here because DL Hall came in the bottom of the 7th inning, and I had a back and forth with somebody on Twitter about this, that when Pat Murphy put in DL Hall, it was probably the plan to have him pitch the 7th, 8th, and 9th and end the game.
Yep.
And I just brought up that the bullpen was well rested. That's why Priester was pulled early. The Brewers jumped out to a lead, so they put in DL Hall thinking, okay, we'll use DL Hall. We'll end the game. He gave up 2 hits and 2 walks that allowed a run and the tying run to come to the plate. Mm-hmm. And then Pat Murphy goes to what I call his not fucking around guy, which is Nick Mears.
Yep.
He came in, got a run, came in on a ground out. Sal Frelick caught a wind ball for the 3rd out. And that was it. Brought in Jared Koenig for the 8th. Didn't get off the mound quick enough on a ball. And I saw people saying Rhys Hoskins should have made a better throw. Jared Koenig needs to get off the mound quicker. That's on both of them.
Yeah.
After that, a home run, made it 9-8, multiple 2-strike hits, and then Trevor McGill came in for a 4-out save and slammed the door despite giving up a double. Now, I had this conversation because somebody brought up, why are you letting DL Hall come into this game? He just pitched on Friday. Normally, he's been given a week off in between outings. He hadn't pitched before that Friday, so game 1 of the Twins series, and since the previous Thursday. So he had 6 days off before Friday. He threw 15 pitches on Friday night. That's 15 is nothing. Now, if you're throwing 15 back-to-back days and you're throwing 5 times in 6 days and you're throwing 15 pitches, that's kind of a lot. But you have 6 days off, you throw 15 pitches. 2 days later, you can probably go 3 innings if you're normally prepared as a starter.
His arm is strong enough. I agree.
We talk about guys like, people love to romanticize CC Sabathia pitching on 3 days rest and stuff like that, or Madison Bumgarner coming out of the bullpen in a World Series game the day after starting a game. Like, he can throw 15 pitches and 2 days later throw 3 innings.
Well, first of all, I would like to say that's what makes those situations with those guys special.
And we're not asking for something of that magnitude.
Yeah.
I'm asking for 15 pitches and 2 days later 3 innings.
He's coming into a goddamn 9-2, 9-3 baseball game and trying to get us through 3 innings. Getting 9 outs for us.
And the thing is that just because this game gets to 9-8 doesn't make it a bad decision from Pat Murphy. Because when you are Pat Murphy sitting at the end of the 6th inning saying, hey, I can put in, my Ashby or my DL Hall, Ashby obviously pitched already, and get me through the rest of this game and give my A bullpen another day off, you don't know that you're going to get into a situation where this is going to end up being a 1-run ball game and you're going to need your A bullpen. So the thing that I said that I felt was pretty smart of me to say is you can't be in the 9th inning going, oh, this is a 9-8 game. Murphy should have never put DL Hall in the 7th inning. Hindsight does not equal insight. You don't get to sit there in the 9th inning and say it's stupid that DL Hall was put into this game when you don't know in the 6th inning that it's going to be a 1-run game in the 9th inning. Pat Murphy doesn't have a crystal ball. He can't see the future. He doesn't have a time machine. You don't know that. You have to just try to play these things as strategically as possible. And the strategy was, I can use my 3-inning long relief guy, who is normally a starter, to save my bullpen when we have a 7-run lead. I would like to do that because most of the time your guy's going to get you through those innings, maybe give up a couple runs. The Brewers could win 9-5 and nobody bats an eye. But because this game did end up getting tied by DL Hall giving up some runs, Nick Mears allowing one inherited runner to score, and Jared Caney giving up a couple runs, it becomes a closer game. And Trevor McGill has to be used. Brewers end up winning anyways by Trevor McGill getting a save. After I said the hindsight doesn't equal insight thing, there was no reply from it. It's done. The Brewers won. That's the bottom line. They won.
Yeah. I mean, if you really want to do something, you can give a lot of credit to McGill getting a 4-out save, had a monster strikeout in the bottom of the 8th inning with runners on first and third. Again, a big boy strikeout. And then you get to the 9th, and McGill got himself in a little bit of a sticky situation where they had to intentionally walk Buxton because he was on fire. He had 2 home runs at that point. He's absolutely a lightning rod when he is healthy.
Afam said Ashby's real good, and as long as Joel Papaya is not mentioned, Afam's good. Well, I mean, if he's there in AAA, if we get into a pinch, I would trust him.
Yeah, me too. And then for him to strike out Larnach, who was swinging a good bat, to end the game after intentionally walking Buxton, I mean, that's some big boy stuff right there, and that's what makes me trust Trevor McGill even more. Yeah. And honestly, that's going to make Pat Murphy trust Trevor McGill more.
True.
We get McGill, who blew a save not that long ago. I mean, maybe it is a long time ago.
That was about a week and a half ago.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say 2 weeks. So for him to get that back, and I love the scream at the end, dude. He's always
him and Contreras were both fired up.
Hell yeah, dude. That was a big time win. Another thing that this win did is it got them back to 500 on the road, so they're now 20-20 on the road. Love that. Showing that they can show some fight playing at other team stadiums. Also, it's a little bit of get back for the Brewers. The Twins, who were on fire the first time they faced the Brewers this year in Milwaukee, they came in and they took a couple games for us. Well, now the roles are reversed. Now we were on fire and you were trending downward, and we got to beat the hell out of you in front of your home fans. And they have a nice looking stadium. I actually like the Twins stadium. I would go to a Brewers Twins game there. It looks pretty cool. But do you want some end of series notes, some numbers here real quick?
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, Connor said he forgot to bring up during game 1, but seeing Sal Frelick at first base was cool. I mean, what can't Sal Frelick do, I guess? Like, I would like to see him at third base. I remember them trying him out. But, I mean, Andre Monasterio could play first base if you need him to. Like, it was a position player pitching inning. Fuck it. Like, let Sal Frelick play first base. That's probably what Murphy said.
To play every position, catcher, pitcher. I want him to play all of it. Just like it'd be like, yeah, Sal Frelick was a dog. But here's some notes, and these are filthy. So if you go over the hits, the Brewers had 47 hits in the series, 15.6 per game. The Twins had 27. They were helped out with 18 on the final day, but they were up to 9 hits per game because they had 18 hits in that final game. The Brewers had 14 walks. That's 4.6 per game. The Twins had 11. That's 3.6. So if you add that together, the Twins had 38 people on base, and the Brewers had 61 people on base.
God damn!
Yeah, dude, I told you, it's stupid. And you go to the strikeouts, the Brewers only struck out 20 times in 3 games. They've had games where they strike out 18 times in a game. So only 20 strikeouts in a series.
10.
Yeah, love
20 times in a series, wow.
The Twins only struck out 21 times, so they were at 7 average. So if you do the Twins average of 38 people on base to 21 Ks, they're plus 17. You go to the Brewers with 61 on base and 20 Ks, they're plus 41, bro.
Dude, that's insane. Their number of average base runners per game was equal to total strikeouts in the series.
Dude. The Brewers scored 35 runs. The Twins scored 14. We scored 21 more runs than them, bro.
Damn.
And we had position players pitching in this series, bro. And that's how they scored some of their runs. That is disgusting stuff. I mean, gross. Man, when I was writing this down, I was like, Jesus Christ, we beat their ass.
It feels broken.
I'm just writing double-digit numbers all over the place. I'm like, yeah, this isn't right.
This is baseball? This feels wrong.
Is this football?
The last thing that I wanted to say just on the road trip, the 5-game road trip, should have been 6. Joey Ortiz, these 5 games, he was 10 for 22, 455 batting average, 455 on base, 455 slug, a 909 OPS for Joey Ortiz. Fantastic road trip for Joey Ortiz. Seeing him hot, I tweeted this last night, seeing Joey Ortiz get hot over the last couple of weeks has been therapeutic, is how I described it. And we can go to Monday, starting with game 1 of Brewers Pirates, and 2 2-out hits in the first inning to get Pirates a 1-0 lead, 2 hits to start the second, and then 2 strikeouts and a ground out after that. 3 more strikeouts in the third. Did issue his first walk in the top of the 4th inning, followed by a home run. That's the 4th home run in the last 3 starts that Chad Patrick has allowed, which does make me a little worried about him, that he's given up a lot of home runs in his last 3 starts. Steve said the opening series against the Yankees feels like it happened 5 years ago. It absolutely does.
It really does. That's a good way to explain it.
So I'm a little worried about Chad Patrick just because it took him 82 pitches to get through 4 innings. 2 hits to start at the top of the 5th, got another run in, and thankfully a Sal Frelick assist cut the runner down. But it's weird because Chad Patrick also ended the 5th inning with his 9th strikeout, which was a new career high. Connor brought up the meme.
I love it, bro.
the it's a me, a Joey. That meme that's excellent. That's some of my best work for sure.
I just want everybody to know that every time we come up with an idea, it's me spewing complete bullshit, and Tyler just molds it into something beautiful. But I also want you to think about me every time that Joey does something good on the field. I am walking around my house going, "It's a me, a Joey," for about 5 more minutes after that. Every single time. I'm not kidding. So I love it. I love that meme, dude.
Here, I got it. I found it. I do have it on my computer. It's a me, a Joey.
I love that meme, bro. It's fire.
Oh, that's good stuff. We need a producer so that every time we're talking about Joey Ortiz, this can just pop up. It's a me, a Joey.
Yeah,
every time.
Dude, honestly.
Oh, that's good stuff. Anyways, back to Monday.
Yes.
So, Chad Patrick, I mean, I guess I need to see him again and see what's going on.
Yeah.
See if he figures it out, or see if maybe we need to swap him and Logan Henderson. It's an option.
Or Woody.
So the Brewers, only 1 hit through 3 innings pitched was Christian Yelich, who extended his hitting streak to 7. Top of the 4th, the Brewers got a new pitcher from the Pirates. The second guy to get on base, Christian Yelich, with a walk. After that, 2 singles to left center by William Contreras and Bryce Terang. The Brewers got on the board. That extended Bryce Terang's hitting streak to 8. Isaac Collins followed a bloop single. Caleb Durbin followed with a sac fly. The Brewers cut the lead down to 3-2, and Jake Bowers comes up, and I wrote this in my notes.
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at lifemd.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Confused on where to start with weight loss medication? See the lowest prices available with or without insurance for Wegovy, Zepbound, and more at TryLifeMD.com. 95% of LifeMD patients said starting their weight loss journey was simple. Listen to Tara's story after losing 42 pounds.
You just take your shot. It doesn't feel like you're on a diet. What I wasn't expecting it to do was to shut off the food noise. I had gone from 237 to 195. This was life-altering, and if I can do it, I feel like anybody can do it.
Get your free insurance benefits check in minutes right now at TryLifeMD.com. Nearly 96% of patients said they would recommend the LifeMD program to anyone who wants to lose weight. Get started right now at TryLifeMD.com. That's TryLifeMD.com.
That my pre-at-bat guess was a strikeout, and Jake Bauer struck out. I'm approaching saying that Jake Bowers might not be the guy to put in a game with guys on base. Now, I understand he started this game to give Rhys Hoskins a day off, and that's still going to be the case. And I don't know that I'm ready for Andrew Vaughn yet because we've had him for a week.
He's mashing down there, though.
Dude, his first game, he had a grand slam. So it's like...
Yeah. He's mashing.
I need a bigger sample size than a week to be like, okay, I want to swap Andrew Vaughn and we can DFA or trade Jake Bowers. Like, I'm not at that point yet, but a couple more times of Jake Bowers striking out guys on base and I might get there.
It's fair.
Bottom of the fifth, Joey Ortiz got another opposite field hit, extended his hitting streak to 7. Sal Frelick got hit by a pitch and a new pitcher came in and kind of a lucky double play. Ball got hit right to the pitcher, not a super hard hit ball. And because it was still kind of a line drive, Durbin got doubled off. Joey Ortiz got doubled off. Mm-hmm. Now, after that, Christian Yelich got to a 3-0 count, ties the game, mashes a home run. Love to see it. Mm-hmm. Pirates grabbed the lead back from the Brewers from Nick Mears, who has been pitching a lot lately. You know, we talked about bullpen being potentially rested. Nick Mears still has been the guy that's been pitching a lot. Mm-hmm. Ninth inning was weird. Jake Bowers almost hit a walk-off after I was talking shit about him striking out with guys on base. He almost hit a walk-off 2-run home run. Then Durbin had second base stolen but overslid it. I mean, again, he's still a rookie. Like, I get that you don't want to have mistakes happening in the ninth inning of a one-run game to potentially get into scoring position, but, I mean, you're going against David Bednar, so you need to be aggressive because you're not going to get a lot of opportunities. He's one of the better closers in the game, even though the Pirates don't have a lot of times for save opportunities.
I mean, he hasn't given up a run in his last 13 appearances, including Monday night, so that's pretty fucking good.
And then Jake Bowers got on base. Joey Ortiz struck out looking, and Sal Frelick flew out. That's the way the ninth inning went. It is what it is. Even if Durbin was on base and you have Bowers on base, you're still looking at 2 outs with Jackson Chourio at the plate, which is obviously an opportunity. But again, we don't know. Jackson Chourio could strike out in that situation. He could ground out. He could hit a home run. Playing the what-if game, like I said, you still have to be aggressive with Durbin to try to get him into scoring position. Mm-hmm. So I'm not mad at the decision. Give me your thoughts on the game, and then I want to have 2 quick conversations as it pertains to this game.
Yeah, so Trang and Durbin helping out in the RBI department. So good to see those two keep helping produce. Yelly with a 2-out, 2-run homer coming up clutch again to tie the game. So that was tremendous again. Yelly, please just stay hot and stay healthy. That's literally all I'm praying for because Connor said it before. When he hits, this team is good.
It moves the lineup. It really does.
Yeah. And again, we're talking about a guy, Contreras, who brilliant move by Murph today that not enough people are going to talk about. You give him a day off today, and it's basically you miss one game and you get 2 days off. So brilliant move by him. We need to get him healthy and get him hitting again to his regular self. He's not getting the contact that he usually does, and that thumb may be bothering him more than he's giving off. He's going to give the whole tough guy persona, and that I respect it. I completely understand as a professional athlete giving that tough guy persona, but we need him to be at his healthiest later in the season when we're going to need him more in August and September time. So Contreras, Yelly, Hoskins, that's another guy that can just get hot. He can just get blazing hot, become the best hitter in baseball for like a week and a half.
He had a couple of weeks where he was like pulling and roping doubles down the line and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there was a point in time he was in 300 for a little while there. Yeah. So if he can just stay hot, this offense is going to be just fine. Now, as far as Chad Patrick goes, he had the 9 strikeouts, so he's throwing hard, right? And
he's obviously getting stuff by guys. So
he has the stuff. I just think that right now location is a little bit of a problem for him. I think that he's leaving a little bit too much stuff over the heart of the plate, and people are just hitting it. and that's the name of the game, really. And that might be the next level for him to, get a little bit better location, where he's not a Mizorowski where he can throw 103 and then have the same arm angle and the reach with the 96 and the 92, changeup. I mean, not a lot of guys get away with mistakes like that when he just has overpowering stuff. So Patrick's got to be a little bit more in tune with his mechanics, I think, and we'll see what happens. But
tell me if you agree with this. I get kind of similar feelings about Chad Patrick as I've had with the last 2 years with like a guy like Colin Ray.
Yeah. What up, Justin? How you doing, man?
Justin, welcome back.
And then, obviously Nick Mears gave up a run with his 2 hits. But Ashby, dude.
Ashby is one of my 2 talking points, so let it rip.
I was like, dude, Ashby's stuff is elite. I don't know. This might be crazy to say. I don't know if he has a bad pitch. His top 4?
If his command is good, no, he absolutely doesn't have a bad pitch.
I mean, the sinker at 98, he could throw that anytime he wants, really, because 98 is fucking 98. 98's going to play, right? You pair that with the changeup, which I don't even know the numbers, but that thing seems like it's dropping about 4.5 fucking feet, dude. It's insane. I'm watching this game, and I'm like, 98. And then he just drops a changeup in the strike zone. I'm like, oh, yeah, this guy's fucking toast, dude. This guy's so done. I mean, the 6 Ks in 3 innings is really nice as well. He has the curveball. I mean, he's a really good pitcher when he has to be. If he has the command, this guy could be a dominant piece in the Brewers bullpen for the rest of the year. Let's just continue talking about that. I do have one thing I wanted to talk about Yelly, but I'll let you go with Ashby real quick.
So I just pulled up Ashby. The vertical drop on his changeup is 30.5 inches.
Dude, see what I'm saying, bro? That's insane. That's almost as tall as my
2.5 feet versus his fastball that drops 17 inches. So you're talking over an extra foot on a 5-mile-an-hour slower pitch from just his 4-seamer.
Jesus.
His sinker is an average of 97, so you're talking 6 miles an hour slower and still an extra 9 inches of drop.
Jesus.
The 30.5 inches of vertical drop is 1.3 higher than the comparable average.
Mm-hmm.
And the induced movement without gravity is 2.7 inches higher than the Major League Baseball average.
Damn, bro.
So his changeup is very good. His curveball, holy hell. The vertical drop on his curveball is 58.4 inches.
What?
That's almost 5 feet. It's an average of 6 inches higher than the comparable, and the induced movement is 7.5 inches above the average.
He does not have a bad pitch, dude.
I mean, his 4-seam fastball is maybe the only one that's not a plus pitch. That one doesn't move as much, but all the rest of his pitches move significantly more than the average.
So if he sticks with the sinker, curveball, changeup, he could.
And I'll throw this out there: the usage on the 4-seam fastball is nowhere near anything else. He's thrown 9 total 4-seam fastballs.
Yeah.
So his main fastball is obviously his sinker.
Yeah.
In this game, obviously his location was good, and the velocity was up on all 4 of his pitches. Mm-hmm. So not only that, obviously we were in a 1-run game. Patrick only got through 5 innings. He saved the bullpen for the rest of the series, obviously, besides Nick Mears, who did pitch in this game. But for him to get through 3 innings, he threw 52 pitches, 32 strikes, 20 balls. That's a decent ratio. It's a little over 60%. That's right around where the league average is at. That's what Pat Murphy was trying to get out of DL Hall on Sunday. And Ashby did it on Monday. So we got a bullpen reset at the beginning of this series. I'll throw this out there just because you already talked about Bryce Terang's web gem. The web gem that he had was a tapper in the infield. He faked a throw at first and noticed that as he was going to pick up the ball that the runner was going to carry through over to third base and try to get to third on a ground out. And Terang saw that, faked the throw to first, turned around and whipped. No look, just turned around and fired to third base to get the runner who would have been safe if he slid, but didn't think Terang was going to third base.
Absolutely. That was dead nuts.
Insane throw. And the Brewers posted, rightfully so. It's a highlight. But because the Brewers are losing to the Pirates in a game one time during the season, the Brewers are going to lose even if they have an amazing season 50 plus times and 60 plus times. And we get a crazy highlight in a game that they're losing. Nope. No fun. We are losing. Nothing cool is allowed to happen. It's such bullshit. The we're losing so no good things can be enjoyed mentality is such a red flag.
Yeah, it is.
It's such a red flag for cool shit to happen and people be like, I'm not enjoying it because we're losing today. Like that, fucking have fun. Have fun when cool shit happens.
I agree.
Again, nobody's winning 162 games. Enjoy the cool shit.
Yeah.
Because the inverse of it is you're going to have games where you win and you make errors. But you know what? You're going to let that go because you won. So be able to take things in stride, especially things like losing in a game that is 162 games where you're going to lose a lot. Be able to take it in stride and be able to have fun when you're going to lose games. And I'm not saying you have to enjoy losing. That's not what I'm saying. But to be able to enjoy good things that happen during losses. Because we will bring things up like hitting approaches. Obviously, we're talking about good defensive plays. We can talk about gems from pitchers. It's all similar things. Because you can have a game where Freddie goes 6, gets 8 strikeouts, gives up 1 run, and the Brewers lose 1-0, and it's like, oh, we wasted a gem from Freddie today. So you're recognizing that there's a gem there.
Mm-hmm.
This one being a web gem.
Mm-hmm.
That's still a good thing that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Losing the game doesn't take away from that play being great. Like, yeah, Pirates fans can probably be like, yeah, well, we got the win. Like, touche. But Brewers fans enjoy cool plays when they happen. That's a crazy phrase from Bryce Terang. If we're talking, this happened, I think it was in the 5th inning. If the Brewers hit a walk-off in the 9th and they go nuts, people are going to go back to that and be like, what if Bryce Terang didn't make that play and the Pirates scored another run and the Brewers, now this is a 1-run game instead of, a tie game.
Yeah.
So good things can happen in losses and you can still enjoy them without having to make yourself feel like you're enjoying losing, because that's not the case.
You could have literally made that same speech for Ashby as he was making good pitches on the mound as well. Just because the Brewers didn't win doesn't mean that Ashby can't build on this good outing that he had.
That's absolutely a fantastic outing. And we're going to talk about Joey Ortiz more as we continue going into these games.
Hold on, let me give you some yellow.
Because Joey Ortiz, his hitting streak continues.
Yeah.
Not all the games that they won that he had hits.
Very true. Same thing with Yedley and Terang.
It's not like a hit streak and wins only. Like, nobody counts that.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to hit a baseball, bro. So just count the hitting streak.
Just enjoy the season. Take things in stride.
Agreed.
Okay. What do you want to say about Yelich from Monday?
Yeah. So I got hit. So this is after Monday's game. Yeli's batting .402. This is his last 7 games. 41 for 102, which is so stupid. 8 home runs, 30 RBIs over his last 26 games. And, that's over his last 26. And over the last 7 games, he's 16 for 30 with 14 RBIs. A .533 batting average. In a week of baseball, bro. Whoa. He's good.
All right. Well, let's talk about last night. What's it up to you from last night's game?
You go ahead real quick. I have to fix my charger real quick.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Justin said, not to get off topic, but the pitch by Mizorowski you guys posted was absolutely filthy McNasty. I'm not a baseball game, but that was mind-blowing. I'm assuming you meant not a baseball fan, Justin, but I'll let it slide. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, Justin's not even a baseball fan, and he's saying that was cool. Like, again, just if you give the respect, you'll find that it's a lot easier to get in return. So thank you, Justin. Last night's game, top of the second inning, 3 straight singles with no outs. The number 8 hitter had a grounder. Brewers got an out at home. The number 9 hitter, strikeout. And O'Neal Cruz had a sliding catch to end the inning there. Good job by Freddie Peralta to settle in nicely after getting out of that jam. He pitched a clean third, fourth, and fifth innings. The top of the sixth, he had 2 soft singles to start, followed by a 1-2 to 3-2 home run. Normally we talk about it, how Freddie Peralta is good at limiting traffic, and he gives up kind of a lot of solo home runs, which is true. But a couple of soft home runs, and then he gets ahead in the count 1-2, lets it get worked back to 3-2, gives up a home run. That's an opportunity for Freddie Peralta to put that guy away. Just wasn't able to do it, and then gave up the 1 home run that produced 3 runs. Bottom of the second, Bryce Durang had a bunt single. That extended his hitting streak to 9. Bottom of the third, Joey Ortiz extended his hitting streak to 8 with a 2-run home run. Then we get to the bottom of the fourth inning. Caleb Durbin bat flipped his 3-run home run. He knew it was gone. It was awesome to see him playing with confidence, something that Joey Ortiz talked about after the game, because he made it back-to-back home runs after that for his first multi-home run game of his career. And these 2 guys, Caleb Durbin and Joey Ortiz, have been fantastic defensively, especially Joey Ortiz. But Caleb Durbin made a web gem today. We'll talk about that too. These 2 guys playing fantastic defense and not letting it affect their confidence defensively, that they were struggling at the plate. And now they're hitting well at the plate, and it's like, shit, these 2 guys are really, really good. They've been great defensively all year, and now they're hitting too. Like, the confidence is just oozing out of the left side of the Brewers infield, which is awesome.
I mean, if you want to just take the left side of the field, you're going to have Collins as well.
Yeah.
Literally just take the left side of the Brewers defense as a batter. All young guys, all playing elite defense, all hitting the baseball, the cover off the baseball right
now. Bryce Durang extended his hitting streak, like I said. Christian Yelich extended his hitting streak to 8 in the bottom of the 7th. And in the bottom of the 8th, the Brewers took advantage of some bad Pirates defense to add some insurance. But again, it's really the theme of the episode today is taking advantage of the bottom of the order, getting on base, and starting with Rhys Hoskins. Getting on base, Isaac Collins hitting a rocket single, Caleb Durbin reaching on an error, and Joey Ortiz driving in a run on a fielder's choice, and had good hustle to stay out of the double play. So good job by him for that. And then Sal Frelick with runners in the corners hits a single, and that single, 109.1 miles an hour off the bat. That is the new hardest hit of Sal Frelick's career. He previously said it just a couple weeks ago, breaking it from the home run that he hit in the playoffs against the Mets last year.
Mm-hmm.
Connor said Durbin looks more and more comfortable and confident at third base the more he plays. I mean, playing time will do that for you. And, I mean, a bunch of these guys have talked about it, that knowing that they're going to be in the lineup every day and, like, Pat Murphy communicating that to them, it does give them confidence. Like, they don't have the tension like, oh, my God, am I playing for my job today? They don't have that. Pat Murphy is instilling the confidence in them by letting them know, like, hey, work through it. Keep doing what you're supposed to be doing in your processes. Christian Yelich is a fantastic example. We talked about this. We, being Wisco fanatics, talked about this April and May. Like, hey, Christian Yelich is hitting the ball hard. He changes his swing like angles just a little bit, and he's going to be mashing. Here we are. He's raised his batting average 80 points in the last month.
Dude, he is on another planet right now.
So after that, Sal Frelick stole second base, got an easy steal. I mean, a pretty solid way to return the favor for the Brewers losing game 1 to come around and win game 2 last night. So what stood out to you from last night?
First thing that stands out is Peralta just cannot get over that 5th inning bump, dude. He doesn't get the respect he deserves, in my opinion. He's 8-4 in the year now, and winning isn't everything for a starting pitcher, just like it's not for a quarterback.
Even after last night, he's still got a 2.90 ERA.
Yeah, I mean, he's still pitching good, but he just can't get through that 6th inning, man. If he starts getting through that 6th inning, man, it's gonna be a whole different conversation with him.
Yikes. You want to know what his ERA by inning is?
Dude, I know in the 6th it's going to be like freaking like 17.
Okay, first it's 265, second it's 159, third it's 106, fourth it's 476, so the 4th inning is his first hurdle. The 5th it's 110, so he's good in the 5th. The 6th it's 10.8.
I knew it, bro. I knew it's 6.
And the 7th it's 9.0.
Well, how many times has he gone into the 7th this year? Probably
twice.
Not much. Okay.
And he's faced 5 batters, and he's given up 1 earned run, which gives you a 9 ERA.
Yeah.
And he has 1 walk.
Okay.
So 1 earned run, 1 hit, 1 walk, no strikeouts, and 5 batters faced.
That makes sense.
So the main hurdles are the 4th and the 6th.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess now that everybody knows that and we're all smarter, we're going to be watching closely in the 4th and 6th inning when Peralta's on the mound.
More, you know.
And that is the point of this show, so you're welcome. Rob Z, been very good, dude. He's been a really pleasant surprise since coming back to the Brewers. Clean inning for him.
Another guy that knows his role.
Dude, facts on that. That's fucking facts. Koenig comes in, inning, 1 hit, clean inning. Anderson, he's been really good, and I have some thoughts on Anderson actually. So mixing in all these guys, you can throw Rob Z in there as well. Mixing in all these guys that throw 90, high 90s, they throw all these disgusting moving changeups and curveballs and all this good stuff. You got a guy like Anderson who is kind of middle of the road in a lot of his velocities, but it's just the arm angle. I think.
Yep.
I think the arm angle makes him unique and elite in this bullpen.
We've talked about it. It messes with hitters.
And that's something that people don't talk about enough with Anderson. He's been pretty good lately, in my opinion.
He's been pretty good for the whole year. Like he's had a couple times where they've asked him to wear some games, but
yeah,
I mean overall, I still think he qualifies for Diamond in the Rough category. Like I don't know exactly off the top of my head what his ERA is, but his ERA with the Rangers last year was like 9.
Oh wow.
I think with the Brewers, it's like I want to say it's like 450 at the most.
And then obviously Uribe is he's good. So you talked about this being Joey Ortiz's first ever multi-home run game. Well, he came into this game with 2 home runs. He left the game with 4 home runs. And this was his first home run. When he hit his first one, it was his first home run since May 22nd, which coincidentally enough was also against the Pirates.
Nice.
Had to add that little nugget in there. You talked about the back-to-back. Wanted to give a shout-out because Ortiz obviously got 3 of his 4 home RBIs off of the home run. His 4th RBI was off of fielder's choice. So just making contact, man, just those small things adding up into the box score. Another game with the Brewers scoring 9+ runs this week. So it's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean the first 7 runs, 6 of them were driven in by Durbin and Ortiz, and the 7th scored on a wild pitch.
Yep.
So good stuff from the bottom of the order. I did pull up Grant Anderson's stats. He had an 8.10 ERA last year with the Rangers. This year it's 3.20. That absolutely qualifies for Diamond in the Rough category, even though he's had a couple of rough games.
I 100% agree with that.
And Afam, if you're still watching, he's been better than Yoel Payamps was, even though I'm a Yoel Payamps truther.
It's fair.
Okay. Today's game, we got the Mizarowski versus Skeens matchup that everybody was excited for. And if you were a Brewers fan, super enjoyable. Could not have gone better. Skeens, the most runs that he had allowed in 2025 was 5 on April 8th and 3 on May 1st. He had not allowed more than 3 earned runs since April 8th. And the Brewers tagged him for 4 in 1 inning.
Yeah, they did.
Paul Skeens, he only allowed 4 earned runs once in 2024. And he had only pitched 5 innings or less once in 2025. He pitched 5 innings. And his shortest outing in 2025 is 5 innings. His shortest inning in 2024, he had 1 outing where he pitched 4 innings. So what the Brewers did to Paul Skeens today is extremely rare by his standards.
That was just an 0 for 2 for me.
I want to talk about the inning. The Brewers scored 4 runs in an inning, and it started off with a leadoff walk. And Isaac Collins running for second base going for the steal, pulled the shortstop away to turn a ground out by Bryce Durang into a single that extended his hitting streak to 10. Joey Ortiz grounded out. And, sorry, something happens before that first. It's Caleb Durbin. I wrote in my notes, in bold and in all caps, thank you for not sacrifice bunting with Caleb Durbin. Thank you for fucking Pat Murphy, for Caleb Durbin, for base coaches, whoever's decision it is, for not sacrifice bunting in that situation where you have first and second and nobody out with Caleb Durbin at the plate. He offered to bunt at the first pitch. That was the only one that he offered to bunt at, and he got a single in this at-bat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crucial because following that, Joey Ortiz grounded out with the bases loaded, nobody out, run scored. Okay, it's 1-0. That would have been the second out. Eric Haas bloops a double. That makes it 2-0. Sal Frelick has a tapper, and Gonzalez, the Brewers killer from the first two games, throws home, throw goes wide, and Durbin scored what would have been not on base if they would have sacrificed bunted him.
True.
Christian Yelich gets a 2-out single, extended his hitting streak to 9, and he would not have been up if there was 3 outs, obviously. So because he comes up with 2 outs, he hits a 2-out single, and Brewers go up 4-0. It is conceivable that if Caleb Durbin would have been sacrificed bunting on first and second and nobody out, that the Brewers only scored 2 runs that inning. Pirates scored 2 late. They scored 1 off Grant Anderson, and they scored 1 off of Aberdeen Uribe. Even if they score 3 runs that inning, we're talking about a much more tense ball game in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, with the Brewers potentially being up 2-1 or 3-1 and 3-2 or 2-2.
True.
So thank you for not sacrifice bunting in that situation, especially after we've just had all of this conversation about the left side of the infield gaining confidence. Caleb Durbin pimped a home run last night because he knew he got it. Let Caleb Durbin swing the bat.
Yeah.
So they played for more runs. They scored more runs. That's what I want. I don't want to play to score 1 or 2 when you have the opportunity to score 4. 4 is the magic number. Still continues to be the magic number. So that's my biggest thing offensively. Because on the other side of the ball, Jacob Mizorowski, got him. That dude's real good. Started with a ball. This game just umpire pissed me off on the first pitch. Started with a ball, became a walk. Should have been a strike. That guy steals second, gets the third and a sac fly with a runner on third and 1 out. He threw 5 heaters to the next batter for a strikeout and got Gonzalez to strike out on a curveball. I mean, they talk about it during the broadcast about Jacob Mizorowski having some veteran presence. To have a runner on third with 1 out and to strike 2 guys out, that takes nuts.
Yeah.
Later on, Jacob Mizorowski, after the Brewers scored 4 runs in an inning, it took Skeens 37 pitches to get through that inning. Mizorowski finished his 3rd inning. He was at 42 pitches total.
Yep.
And he was feeling himself. Brewers go through this long-ass inning of scoring 4 runs, sending 8 guys to the plate. Skeens sets to throw 37 pitches. Mizorowski comes out, throws 10 pitches, 1, 2, 3, and we're back to batting. Now, the game got a little quiet from there, and Mizorowski in the top of the 4th had the first 2 guys reach, and his command got a little loose for about a batter and a half. And then he locked back in, got a ground ball, double play ball, and a 4-pitch strikeout to O'Neal Cruz. 3 of the pitches in that 4-pitch at-bat were 101 plus.
I'm going to say something a little crazy. That double play ball was probably the most important at-bat for Mizorowski in this game. To have 2 on and no out, being a young guy in your 3rd ever start.
Yeah.
Pretty important.
even just a routine out, I mean, you're still looking at potentially first and third with one out and O'Neill Cruz up versus a guy.
It's just a sack fly and you give up a run, and then things kind of can start to tilt towards Pittsburgh. I mean, I don't care how good or bad the team is. Momentum does not favor anybody, and that was an important at bat for me. For him to get that double play ball was very clutch, and we always talk about the pitching. I'm not trying to interrupt too much here. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
But we always talk about the pitching in the pitching lab, and rightfully so. I don't think we give enough credit to the defense, because the defense behind you, dude, we got gold glovers and platinum glovers, and then we just bring up these guys from the freaking minor leaguers, and they're freaking gold glovers, and it's like, we just keep fucking popping these guys out. What's going on over here?
Pitching and defense, dude. That's what we do.
I love it so much because it keeps us competitive, man.
So I'm going to throw this out there. I'm not taking away from what you're saying because that's a good point. The double play ball that he got, like, it doesn't get any easier than that one.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That was a routine. That was a great pitch by Mizorowski. 99 on the corner.
Double play balls, what they call those.
Yeah. I mean, that was a can of corn is what they say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Just a little soft girl ground ball, a little tailor-made double play ball.
Tailor-made.
Like I said, game got quiet until the 7th. The Pirates scored an unearned run. And then in the 8th inning, Abner Uribe gave up a run. The third time in 4 appearances that he's given up a run. My thing with that is, thankfully, none of them have blown games.
True.
If you're going to be able to pick and choose when Abner Uribe gives up a run, it's in a game where you're up by 3 and he gives up 1. It's not the end of the world. Versus, if you're talking about he gets a save opportunity in a game where Trevor McGill's had to pitch the last 2 days in a tie ball game, and he gives up a run. That's obviously much more, crucial.
Right.
Now, Caleb Durbin started the 8th inning with a web gem, and Uribe still not getting calls. I don't know what it's going to take for Abner Uribe to start getting some strike calls, but it's kind of bullshit. But still, credit to Caleb Durbin, and I guess to Abner Uribe for only giving up 1 run in a 3-run game. Last thing I want to say on this game is Jacob Mizorowski was pulled after 5 innings. He threw 74 pitches. The reports from the game were that his max was going to be 80. So I don't think anybody needs to freak out that he's pulled early or that they're not letting him do things. Last Friday, we just talked about how Murph let him go a little bit. This game, they reeled him in a little bit. So there's some give and take there, which I think is fair. I like the let the young guy pitch, the let the young guys play. But, if we're talking about this game, the draw coming in was Skeens versus Mizorowski. Mizorowski pitched 5 scoreless. The Brewers hung 4 on Skeens in 4 innings. Mizorowski's already won the starting matchup.
Yep.
So we can take it, and I'm good. Not to mention, Brewers are off tomorrow. So I'm good with how it went. Obviously, the Brewers won, so we're good there. The Brewers had a 6-1 week. That's fucking awesome. I love it. I would have loved to see Mizorowski and Peralta pitch a doubleheader against the Cubs and take 2 of them in a row. That would have been awesome. But I have no qualms in a 6-1 week for the Milwaukee Brewers.
No, you can't, honestly. I thought Mizorowski was great, and I thought the Brewers' approach, especially in the 2nd inning, was fantastic for Skeens. Like you said, making him throw 37 pitches. He was at 50 at the end of the 2nd inning. So, that's just good stuff, good for us. I feel bad for Paul Skeens because he's I don't want to say generational because people just throw that shit around so much, but he is a very talented player.
He can be phenom. You can give him the term phenom.
Okay, phenom is fine. I'm just honestly getting sick and tired of everybody saying everybody's generational. Like Shohei Ohtani,
elite. Elite is another term that people throw around too easy.
Yeah,
is that
he's elite? That one I'm not scared to say. But like, if we're talking generational, Shohei Ohtani, conversation ends. Sorry, Aaron Judge is really, really good. He's starting to creep into that generational, conversation too if he keeps it up for a couple of years. But Shohei Ohtani is generational. He's the only one right now.
Aaron Judge is a superstar.
He's very good. He's another guy I would say elite. But Paul Skeens, tremendous. Yeah, they better enjoy him because come 2029, that motherfucker's going to be running. He's going to have one leg out the door that entire year.
Honestly,
they might trade him.
But a dude's going to be wearing pinstripes.
Probably.
He's going to follow the Garrett Cole career path.
Yeah. Maybe. We'll see. But, you know, can't feel too bad. He's going to be really, really rich.
I mean, yeah, he's going to, yeah.
And he's getting living done.
Rolling cash.
Yeah,
but right now it sucks because he's 4-7 and he's got like a 1.95 ERA.
I'll feel bad for him for probably about 35 seconds, and then I'll go like, I got to go to my job tomorrow, bro. Like, he gets to have the day off and eat sunflower seeds. Fuck this guy.
Dude, Justin, don't even say Caleb Williams and generational in the same sentence. That's so dumb.
Dude,
so dumb.
I'm not going to start on that.
Yeah, not even touching it.
Trevor McGill, 18th save of the year. He's been absolute fire over the last week. So the Brewers, if you didn't know, this was game 81 for the Milwaukee Brewers today.
Yeah, halfway point.
They are exactly at the halfway point. They are 9 games over 500 at this point, and they're on track for another 90-win season. So, ho-hum, the Brewers win 90 games, and they make the playoffs, and everybody's going to be upset about it. Love that.
And still one of the younger teams in baseball.
Dude, they're young all over the place. We just talked about their whole left side, dude. Like Collins, rookie. Durbin, rookie. Joey Ortiz, literally a second-year player. You go to center field, literally a second-year, 21-year-old player.
21-year-old.
You go to right field. What does it do? 23? What is he, 23, 24?
24. But
young as shit.
Second year and a half.
Literally the only old people, as they're the same age as us, is Rhys Hoskins and Christian Yelich.
Christian Yelich is older than us, but he's 33.
Well, so is Hoskins. Hoskins is 33. But still, the
Freddie Peralta is one of the veterans on the team at 30.
That's insane to me.
And obviously Quintana 35. But plenty of youth on the team. The Brewers, like we said, are off tomorrow. They have 3 games against the Rockies at home. Yes. Then they have off on Monday. And then next week we will have the first game of their series in New York against the Mets. Enjoy the off days now. And obviously at the All-Star break when we get there in August, they're going to have 19 games in 18 days.
Fucking rip them, baby.
So enjoy the off days now while we got them, because they're going to be hard to come by later in the off season, in the season.
Very true.
Okay, so we're going to switch. We have one more segment to do real quick, and we're just going to talk about tonight. The NBA draft starts. It's possible that the Bucks trade into the back of the first round. There's rumors that they're aggressively trying to. A couple of guys that I'd be interested in, like if Cedric Coward is available.
Dude,
Danny
that's the
Wolf
guy.
is available.
Think about a guy, I was like, dude, Cedric Coward's good as fuck.
Yeah. So if we get to like 26, 27, 28, Woodruff, we did not throw out the update on him. He's pitching. He's doing a start in Nashville, and then knock on wood, his next start would be in Milwaukee.
Yes, that was the latest word. If everything goes good with his next start, I don't know. Chad Patrick might be getting sent down. We don't know. That's just speculation because he seems like the guy in the hot seat right now. So we'll see what happens. But having Woodruff back at any capacity would be awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So as it stands currently, the Bucks have pick 47. Jake and I each made 5 guys, that we would like at that 47th pick. And we can count them down. We can count them up. Connor said a realistic trade package for Holiday. Also don't think it's likely. I know he wants out. Honestly, I really only think the Bucks are going to be able to get him as if he gets bought out.
Yeah, because they're not taking on.
It would have to be like Bobby, Pat, and I don't even know if there's another guy that they'd be able to throw in there to make that salary quite match.
Yeah, because you're talking about, what is it, 33 mil or something 33. Like that?
Bobby and Pat would be 23.
Yeah.
And that's if Bobby opts in.
Yeah. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, like you said, it's probably not happening. But, yeah, I saw that Drew Holiday is pretty pissed off.
If he gets bought out, I would consider it an option.
Dude, if Drew Holiday would come back, dude, it's on. That's all I'm going to say.
Dude, if we can end in a scenario 2 years after getting Damian Lillard that we get Damian Lillard and Drew Holiday, that'd be interesting. Justin, we appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'll throw Justin's comment up here. He said he appreciates the insight on Wisconsin sports. He said, well, you guys are awesome.
Hey,
Thank
man,
you, Justin.
football season's just getting closer and closer, my man. Pretty soon be time to talk about, the Badgers football team. I'm still excited. I don't care what anybody says. I'm still excited for Badgers football season. And obviously Packers. I mean, the sky's the limit for this team. I got lots of thoughts on them, but we'll save that for, a couple months from now.
All right. Give me
in
your
terms of-
5-1.
So I couldn't force another guy in there. I'm sorry, dude. I only got 4.
Okay.
I couldn't force another guy. I did look up that dude you told me last night. I'm not going to say his name because he is on your list, right?
Yeah.
He's on your list. Okay, so I'm not going to say his name. But there is 4 guys that legitimately, in my mind, make sense for the Bucks. So I don't know if you want to give your 5 and then we'll just go 4 staggered. You want to do that?
I mean, if you want to rip yours, we can rip them or we can stagger.
Let's just rip them. So I told you last night, I did put numbers next to him, but I'm not like ranking them like this guy first, this guy second.
Okay.
I'm just like saying like strategically, like I like all of these guys for the Bucks. So I'll just start with my guy at the top, and that's John Tonje. Obviously, we're all familiar with him, former Wisconsin Badger. He's a Mizzou transfer. So stats last year, he averaged 19.6 points per game, 5.3 rebounds, 1.8 assists, 46% from the field, 38.8% from the three-point line. So he was striping, and 90% from the free throw line. So he was very close to a 50-40-90 season in his first year as a Badger, coming off honestly, just a really sad injury for him at Missouri. He was probably going to dominate there and then enter the draft last year. His fit. So I wrote down fit for all these guys. He's a 3-level scorer who can get hot quick, and he can sustain it. I feel his shot making and creating is the biggest boost for me in terms of when you talk about bench play. Would really love it if you become a little bit better ball handler and playmaker. Obviously, with it looking like Kevin Porter Jr. is going to be leaving as he looks for a bigger payday, and Damian Lillard looking to be shelved for majority of the season, the Bucks are going to need a guy who can literally just put the lotion in the basket, which is a fun basketball term that I need to start bringing up more. The Badgers really are the Badgers. I would love him on the Badgers for another year, but the Bucks could really just use his 3-level scoring. He can get hot from transition threes. He can pull up mid-range. He's got a little bit of a post game. He can get very crafty around the rim, which the Bucks could use. So John Tonje, people can call it a fairy tale. Makes a lot of sense for the Bucks roster.
I just want to throw this out there because he is my number 5 on my list, so I'll just let you keep going. But
yeah,
if there's a way where the Bucks re-sign Gary Trent Jr. and draft on John Tonje, if they can mold John Tonje into a Gary Trent Jr. type player, that's a dream come true.
Yeah, sure is. So then we get to my number 2, and if anybody knows me, I'm not a Marquette guy, but again, I give respect where respect is due, and Cam Jones is the second guy on my list. A 6'3", 202-pound combo guard, a guy who played primarily off ball for most of his career, but with Tyler Kolek graduating to the NBA, now currently on the New York Knicks, Cam Jones was kind of forced into a new role last year.
Yep.
He averaged 19.2 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 5.9 assists. Shot 48% from the field, 31% from 3, and 64% from the free throw line. So you're going to look at that 31% from 3 and be like, he's not much of a shooter. Well, pause real quick, because in 2024, when he was playing off ball, he shot 40% from the three-point line. This guy can absolutely stripe it from beyond the arc. He shot 38% the year behind the three-point line the year before that. So this guy can shoot. I have absolutely no qualms.
As a Marquette fan who watches games, we don't cover them on our show because we just, quite frankly, don't have the time. But
yeah,
as a Marquette fan who watches Marquette games, Cam Jones is a bucket.
Just straight up just a bucket. I wrote down he's very good in the pick and roll. With no Game or KPJ, they will need a guy who can run the pick and roll with Giannis. He's very decisive and good decision maker in the pick and roll, whether to pass or to shoot. Again, like Tyler said, this guy is straight up bucket. And something else that I wrote down is he plays a really good pace, and that's something that the Bucks could use as well. As they were one of the older teams in the league the last couple of years, getting a younger guy who wants to get out and run in this pace and space era that we are in, I believe that's a beautiful. That's a match made in heaven, honestly. If Cam Jones falls to the Bucks at 47, that'd be a great.
I would love it. I think he's going to go in like the 29 to 40-ish area, but if he makes it, I'm on board.
Yeah, that would be a tremendous pick. So my number 3 guy that I wrote on here is Sion James from Duke. He's a Tulane transfer, was a 4-year player at Tulane, transferred to Duke last year. Good year to transfer to Duke, just saying. 6'5", 218. I've seen him listed as 6'6", 220 and on other websites as well. He averaged 8.6 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 4.2 rebounds, 2.9 assists, 51.6 field goal percentage. He shot 41% from 3 and 81% from the free throw line. He's a multi-positional defender, so a guy the Bucks have been missing a POA defender. Talking about Drew Holiday, they've been missing a POA defender, a point of attack for people who don't know that term, for quite a while now. A guy that can really up the pressure. And if you watch any of our offseason stuff, that's one thing that I want to do is I wanted to up the defensive pressure, because if you up the defensive pressure, you get turnovers, you get runouts. You have one of the greatest generational, and I'm going to use generational with Giannis because he absolutely is that, especially on the fast break. He's a generational fast break player. You literally unguardable. You get more turnovers, you get more runouts, you get Giannis more easy buckets because he already works his ass off for all his other buckets because he's facing 5 guys at a time at some points during the game. So multi-positional defender. He can handle the rock a little bit. I think he needs to become a little bit more consistent as a spot-up shooter. He did miss some open looks when I was looking at it, and he's playing on a stacked Duke team. So he's going to get those looks if Giannis is on the floor with him, but he's not going to get those looks, without some of the star power and gravity, as Tyler brought up brilliantly this year, and then we both kind of just ran with it. The gravity that star players have, those off-ball guys have to hit those three-pointers. And he did get better every year with his three-pointer. And, again, the 81% from the free throw line is a key thing for me because the Bucks, obviously with Giannis taking a majority of their free throws, they miss a lot of free throws as a team. So having other good free throw shooters and three-point shooters around Giannis and a guy who can play defense makes total sense to me. Now, my last one was a hot topic last night as we were talking, because I call him the best shooter in the draft. Tyler has another guy on his list who might be the best shooter in the draft. And he has the stats to prove it. I'll just say, you were very convincing last night. But Kobe Bray from Kentucky, he is a transfer from Dayton.
There's a lot of Kentucky guys on this list, just forewarning. Between the two of us, lots of Kentucky on here.
Kentucky always gets talented players. 11.6 points per game, 3.2 rebounds, 1.3 assists. He shot 47% from the field and 43.5% from the three-point line. If you think that's ridiculous, you better just hang on to your chair. 91% from the free throw line. He's an elite shooter. He is the best shooter in the draft. I was like, you want to surround your superstar with a guy that can shoot. This is the guy. So told you 43% from the three last year. In 23-24, he shot 51% from the field and 49.8% from the three-point line, which is just the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Over his last 3 years, right? I took down his last 3 years because that was when he got a big bump in playing time. He was 339 of 741 overall from the field. That's 46%. That's pretty decent. When you consider that 243 of his 500, he made 243 of his 550 three-point shots at 44%. He shot 44% from three over the last 3 full college basketball seasons. I did some more numbers.
That'll do.
Of his 339, 96 of them were two-point shots. That's 28%. That means 72% of his shots were behind the three-point line.
AJ Green-ass stat line.
This dog literally is on the court to freaking shoot the ball. That's it.
Connor asked, bigger need for the Bucks, wing or guard? I mean, you're going to see it reflected in mine. I think it's wing.
Honestly.
So
I think Sanjay and James could play wing, but that's fair. That's fair.
Who is your number one priority in free agency?
It was wing.
For the Bucks, who is your number one priority in free agency?
Oh, God, I don't even have my list. I mean, I had a bunch of guys. It was really just retooling and getting a little bit more athletic on defense.
Okay, but is there one specific guy that you would like to see brought in or brought back? Or
brought in, yeah. It was wing.
No, it's not.
Who did I have?
Both of us, we had the conversation that our number one priority is Gary Trent Jr.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
Gary Trent Jr. is a guard. So if he is brought back after that, the need becomes wing.
I was thinking more so of my trades with Bridges and
I agree. And, we've talked about guys to bring in too. A guy that I really like, I think he'd be cost effective for the Bucks would be like Larry Nance Jr.
Yeah.
I think he fits. He was a wing.
That's fair.
He gets like labeled as a center sometimes, but he's a power forward, small forward, kind of ish center, but he's more of a wing.
Yeah.
Most of my guys on my list are wings, except for John Tanjay. John Tanjay is a guard. He would be a shooting guard. My number 4 guy is a center, actually, and it's Amari Williams, another Kentucky guy. He is 7 feet tall. He has a 7'6" wingspan. He's 255 pounds. He averaged 10.9 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 3.2 assists. So here's where I'm talking about drafting a center. Is he is a good ball handler in general, not just for a center. He's a good ball handler. He's a really good passer, as evidenced by the fact that he is a center averaging 3.2 assists. He's a good rebounder. He's a strong rim defender, and he's left-handed, which is just kind of a crafty thing and makes all of his passes look cooler. Shot 56.1% on field goals, 62.3% at the free throw line, which isn't an unheard number for centers. Now, what I put in my notes is that I like him more than other second-round bigs that we've talked about in the last couple of years. Yes, 255 pounds. That's like 10-ish, 15-ish more than Bobby Portis. But it's still 25 pounds less than Brook Lopez weighs. I like him more than guys like Christian Koloko and Yves Missy and Ulrich Chomchi, guys like that we've talked about in the second round as, like project big men. As him being a non-shooter, if the Bucks were to run a 5-out offense like they normally do with Giannis, they essentially just do that for spacing for Giannis. I do believe that his ball handling and passing ability would still make him effective in a 5-out offense, because you can't just not pay attention to him, because if the ball does get kicked out to him, he can dribble and make passes to still be effective in the offensive front court, in the half court offense. You can't just camp a guy in the paint because he's not a shooter.
Well, on top of that, I mean, there's so many backdoor cuts that you can do we watched Pat Connaughton dominate in that short corner for a couple of years there. He could literally just hit short corner and still play 5-out.
The other thing is, like, he's taken some threes. I'm not going to go and say that he's a shooter, a 3-point shooter. He's 9 of 30 in his entire career in college. So he's 30%. So if there was a point in time where Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee were shooting threes, you could probably let him let a couple fly.
That's fair.
And the other thing is in college basketball, he was in the 89th percentile in putbacks. So you could literally just tell him, hey, we're going to run 5-out. When Giannis drives, follow him to the rim.
Yep.
I like telling people that when we're playing basketball, like, follow the guy that's driving, because if he puts one up short or it gets blocked, you can be right there with a free layup.
Yep.
Number 3, I have RJ Lewis. He is more of a wing. You could probably play him at shooting guard. He's 6'6". He has a 6'11" wingspan. 215 pounds. He averaged 18.2 points at St. John's last year, 7.2 rebounds, 2 assists. He was 43.9% on field goals, 33.6 on threes, 74.7 on free throws. He's super athletic. He gets up. He's a good on-ball defender. He's a good off-ball and transition rim defender. And he will mix it up in the post. He's not afraid to mix it up, even though he's a little bit light. He's a good ball handler. He's a good passer. I think he's a good shooter. He has a good shot. And he can catch and shoot or shoot off the dribble. The way that I view him is like Ajax with offense. He's got the athleticism. He may not be quite as strong of a defender as Andre Jackson Jr., but he is effective offensively. Something that unfortunately we just haven't seen develop from Ajax, even though we've talked about what we would like to see that. Number 2 guy, Jalon Moore. He's more of a guard. He's 6'6". He's a 6'10" wingspan, 203 pounds. He averaged 15.9 points and 5.8 rebounds for, I believe, Oklahoma last year. 47.1% from the field, 38.1% from free, so very effective 3-point shooter, and 84.0 from the free throw line. So, Connor, to answer your question, if it's wing or guard, I guess it doesn't matter as long as you can shoot. Jalon Moore, I love his approach to scoring offensively because he wants to get to the rim, but he can shoot, as obviously evidenced by him shooting 38% on threes. but he is also in the 83rd percentile on catch and shoot. So he's a very reliable catch and shoot guy, and he can shoot off the dribble. And I like that he wants to get to the rim first before shooting. So I like that approach. There's a lot of guys that would rather just camp at the three-point line. He wants to get to the rim, but he can shoot as well. And my number one guy, the guy that I would like to see the Bucks draft tomorrow night, Jake said his guy is the best shooter in the draft. I feel like this guy could be the best shooter in the draft for a couple of reasons. One, I believe he is the best in college basketball at moving without the ball. He is fantastic coming off of screens, moving around, obviously like back cutting, moving without the ball. Fantastic. Something that I called for during the Bucks season last year to have more of is guys moving without the ball. More stuff happening on the opposite side of the ball. Screens, whatever, it doesn't matter. Screens, cuts, anything to have movement going on the other side of the court so that two guys aren't getting rest on defense.
Yeah.
Jackson Robinson. He's 6'7", 193 pounds with a 7-foot wingspan. So he's light. He would need to put on some weight to be a little bit more effective defensively. But he's got some passing ability. He's athletic. He averaged 13 points, 3.5 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 43.2% from the field, 37.6% from the three-point line, 76.3% from the free throw line. And he can shoot deep. He can shoot real deep threes. He had 8 makes over 25 feet last year, so he can let it fly. And he was in the 88th percentile in spot-up scoring, just in general. So you're essentially talking about him being in the top 12% of college basketball of spot-up scoring and just being elite in moving without the ball in his hands, something that Bucks role players will need to be good at. If you're picking somebody, having somebody who can be effective without the ball in their hands or being effective in a 5-out offense or both, that's something that I would like to see from the Bucks with the number 47 pick tomorrow night. So other guys I'm definitely potentially interested in, guys to keep the guys to keep eyes on. A guy like Elijah Martin, he's more of a point guard. I would throw out Chucky Hepburn. Obviously, we as Badgers fans know Chucky Hepburn. To me, I view him basically as like Malcolm Brogdon 2.0. A little bit slower, but good defender, good ball handler. He can shoot. That's how I view Chucky Hepburn a little bit. So maybe he's an option for the Bucks. So there's some options for the Bucks at 47. Keep an eye if they try to trade into the draft tonight. They might try to do something with Brooklyn because Brooklyn now has 6 first-round picks.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with the Bucks tonight if they do anything. Other than that, they have the 47th pick tomorrow night. And no Brewers tomorrow. So we will be back next week with 5 Brewer games, and we'll talk about the Bucks draft pick, whoever it ends up being. And then we're about a month away from the MLB trade deadline. So we'll be getting to work on that soon as well. So other than that, thanks everybody for tuning in, commenting, interacting, and engaging. We appreciate it. And we will see you guys next Wednesday. Yes, Justin, 6 picks is wild.
That's like Jason Kuski on freaking 2K.
Ever get the feeling you're being watched online? It's Data Brokers. They collect your personal info, your browsing habits, where you live, and who you're related to, and then sell it to the highest bidder. Aura helps stop that. Aura automatically removes your personal info from data broker sites and keeps it off. It also monitors the dark web, protects your devices, alerts you to real-time threats, and more. Start your free trial at aura.com/listen. That's AURA.com/listen for your free trial.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.